And you're listening to WRGY 90.5 FM and streaming at WRGY.org. Next up, WRGY is going to speak with Nick Gordon of the River Comics. He and his fellow comedians are going to be premiering at the Loon Lodge Inn with a free night of stand-up comedy beginning at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And they've also picked up a second gig at Saddleback for Thursday. So we figured we'd pull Nick aside for a few minutes and talk about the world of comedy. So here's Nick. Well, this is WRGY. We're talking to Nick Gordon of a group called the River Comics.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you folks are going to be at the Loon Lodge Inn.
Loon Lodge on Wednesday night.
On Wednesday night at 7 p.m. and it's free.
Yeah.
And open to the public, which is
absolutely
great. Now, who are the River Comics?
Well, the River Comics actually are me and a friend of mine named Leonard Kimball, who's not here today. He's actually vacationing in Bar Harbor. I tried to get him to come to Rangeley.
It's not that long a trip.
Exactly. It's like 3 hours, man. You can do it. One way. And then Nick Dufault, the other guy there, the three of us started up the River Comics 3 years ago down in Lewiston, Auburn area. Okay. And I had been doing comedy for a while, and those guys were getting into it. And they said, we got to figure out a way to get more stage time. And I said, well, let's just create spaces, make rooms, call bars and whatnot, and get ourselves some more space. And well, we got to call ourselves something. Hashed around some ideas and whatnot, and then we came up with the River Comics since we all live near rivers. We all know in Maine there's lots of waterways.
That's true.
We just figured it would fit, and then it did, and we've been producing shows all over. Mostly Lewiston, Auburn, all over the world really, but mostly Lewiston, Auburn. This is the joke we always use. We're all over the world, but mostly Lewiston, Auburn.
Exactly.
I live in Bath, so every once in a while we say Bath. And now Rangeley.
Yeah, famous in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Look us up.
Yeah.
And then the other guys, Casey Crawford's from Boston, and Sarah Poole, someone who's come along lately, who is a pretty funny lady. So. Yeah. From the Auburn area. So how long ago did you start this all up? We started this 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I think we're approaching our 3-year anniversary now. Yeah. And
that's a very intriguing way of getting more stage time and presence time. And just say, hey, can we show up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of the best comedians and performers, I think you'll find that's how they kind of started out. Was just like I need more time. Because it gets in your blood, you want to do it. So.
Yeah, and you get your skill sets more and more well honed the more time you spend in front of people that you don't know.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a lot different being a comedian in front of a bunch of people that you know. They are more acerbic sometimes.
Yeah.
But in front of strangers, boy, they can kill.
Yeah, every once in a while you'll say something, you're like, I know this is funny, and you look out, even if it's just 15, 20 people, and you're like, no one? Really? There's not one of you?
All
right, I'll keep working.
Must be the timing. Yeah. So when you folks go on, what can people expect? Do you do basically just individual comedy? Do you do ensemble stuff? How does that work?
We're all individual comedians, and we all have our own act, I'll say, that we're working on, and we're just, honestly, it was something that I was vacationing up here, and my family's been coming up here for some years. And I finally said, you know what, I need to, even though I'm on vacation, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to a few different places. So Loon Lodge said yes, and actually Saddleback on Thursday night said yes as well.
Oh, so you're going to be there on Saddleback at Thursday?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so we'll do 2 shows and 2 nights. And it'll just be 4 comedians get up and we'll do our bit. Say thanks very much, hope you enjoyed it, and be on our way. Casey Crawford's going to be our headliner, and he's been on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he's toured all over. He's I don't know if listeners know about the Comedy Studio in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He's been doing a summer residency there, and it's quite good. He's going to go on tour nationally this fall. I'm not sure who with, but yeah, he's
so he's got some chops.
He's got some chops. He's got some credits, as they say in the biz.
Yeah. So. You said you've come to Rangeley for a while, and so you have that kind of Rangeley attitude in your blood in some way, shape, or manner. Do you try and bring that sensibility into your material? Do you create material for the place you're going to when you go to the place?
I'm getting to the point where I'd like to try to do that. It's sometimes it's difficult. I am a Mainer. I've grown up in Maine, but I wouldn't consider myself a Maine comedian in the same vein as Tim Sample or Bob Marley or something like that. But those guys have been at it for decades.
I think that they kind of take the air out of the room in that respect. As far as I think, you can be a Maine comedian and not necessarily have to talk about Maine,
right?
And still bring the Maine sensibility to the comedic line or to the comedy without necessarily having to say I'm from Bath. You know?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Which I mean, I do say and whatnot, but I try to think about the fact that, especially now in the summertime, there's people from all over here.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the license plates, and maybe not as much these days, but historically speaking, you could have a license plate from Hawaii, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell did you even get here?
Did you swim? So you started off not that long ago, and then almost immediately the pandemic hit, and that had to cramp your style significantly.
Yeah, we had a nice run of shows set up last summer, 2020, that we reluctantly had to cancel, obviously, for various reasons, but mostly the pandemic.
Yeah.
And we started doing. Getting on Zoom, we learned how to use Zoom real fast, and then we meet and just do some writing groups and that sort of thing, just so that way we still all stay connected. And then we said, well, you know what? Other people are doing Zoom comedy shows. Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
And you think it's bad when you're in a room full of people who don't laugh. When you're on a screen and you get a bunch of people, sitting there staring at you with their microphone muted, or worse off, open, and they're watching Jeopardy. You can clearly hear the Jeopardy theme in the background.
Yeah, I think I've lost that person.
Yeah, I think we're good here. So thanks for the time. But the cool thing was, you shut your computer down, you go sit in front of your TV.
Yeah.
Instead of having to mill around the bar and say hi to people.
Right. You just walk away, gunfighter.
Yeah, exactly. No, I guess I get high.
But that has to be an interesting training ground, and I think a lot of people have said that podcasts and Zooms and things like that, pretty much saved their creative life because it kept them thinking and moving and thinking about new stuff. And
we were constantly, calling each other, texting each other, being on the Zoom with each other, and unfortunately Leonard isn't here with us this week, but he and I started a podcast, and we thought about it throughout 2020, and then as soon as 2021 hit, we were ready. And we started it up, and we called it Comedy Think Tanked. And every once in a while, if you don't say it quite right, it does come out a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about again? No, it's like a think tank, but tank to like drinking. And we just talk to comedians, so you don't have to.
Oh yeah,
it's the slogan. But it's some cool stuff came out of it, and now we're trying to all get our footing again and get shows going and have some regular, consistent laughs for people.
Yeah.
So
now I assume that all of you have to have like regular day jobs and stuff.
Oh
as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this does not pay the bills. It's very sad.
Got to work on that.
Yeah, that's something. But I work in Portland, and all these guys have jobs. Casey's more of a professional. He's a regular comedian who works on a regular basis, weekly, nightly almost.
So I assume he has some kind of an agent that's
I
beating the brushes for him.
I go through him himself, but I'm sure he's got somebody out there that's looking out for his best interests and whatnot. So that's cool. It would be neat to get to that point. But obviously you have to have a huge support system too.
Oh, right.
Because until you get that Netflix special, or you're a national touring headliner, it's tough. But it's a nice community. It's a cool community of people to be involved with.
I think only another comedian would understand what it's like to go out there pretty much on your own. I mean, you don't have a musical instrument that you can go...
I've often said that, like, with open mics or like if you go to a restaurant and the guy's in the corner playing the guitar, it's like you can still do your thing at the table. You can have dinner and you can order another glass of wine, eat your steak or what have you. And then the musician just keeps playing in the corner.
Yeah.
But a comedian, like, you have to be turned and looking at them and watch, because every once in a while the joke isn't necessarily something you say, it's something you do with your face.
Yeah.
Or, just a movement or an eye roll or something like that, and that's where the laugh is. And if you're not paying attention as an audience, you're going to miss it, which is, kind of the downfall of comedy. It's like you need a space for that.
Well, and the comedian has to figure out some way of making that happen with the crowd. And bringing that to the stage, bring those eyes to the stage in a successful way, so they don't start throwing what they have left on the table.
Very true.
Yeah.
Get some good dinner rolls or anything.
Make sure you got a good menu that you're in front of. What are they serving at the lodge? So between the pandemic and it seems like everything is so serious these days, and everyone is taking themselves so seriously. I mean, everyone is like a trauma victim of some sort. How do you knit the thread of this is going to be funny, folks? It really is. When you're trying to sell it to the other comedians, and do you do that? Do you kind of like try this out? Does this work?
Yeah, it's hard because it's something that worked 3 nights in a row might not work, the 4th and 5th night, because of just the day that people had, or it's Friday and we've had a long week, and it's really hard to or maybe here everyone's on vacation this week and everything we say is going to be hilarious because everyone's had vodka tonic since 12 noon.
Exactly.
So it's hard to say, but in the general scheme of things, I and I think I can speak for the rest of the comedians that I work with. Whatever's funny to me is eventually going to think it's going to be funny to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the process I go with. Obviously, if I come up with something, if you write a joke that you think is funny, but it's like it's not funny, but I've written a joke about the Taliban.
Yeah.
A long time ago, but now in today's news,
it might be funny.
It might be funny, or it might be that it's not funny to anyone because it's so prevalent in the news today, and horrible things are happening across the world. But it's hard. It's difficult to.
Right.
You really need to know something at least.
So again, the 4 people showing up is there's yourself, Nick, and then there's another Nick.
Nick Dufault from Lewiston, Sarah Poulin from Auburn, Casey Crawford from Boston, and Wednesday night at Loon Lodge at 7, and then Thursday night at up to Saddleback at 7 o'clock as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
The River Comics.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, I wish you luck, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick. That was Nick Gordon of the River Comics, based in the Lewiston, Auburn area, and they'll be providing a couple of nights of stand-up comedy free here in the Rangeley region. First, their premiere at the Loon Lodge Inn on Wednesday at 7, and the following night at Saddleback. If you'd like to keep up on the news and events of the River Comics, you can go to their 2 websites, therivercomics.com or comedythinktanked, that's TANKED.com, or you can visit them on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Again, that's therivercomics.com or comedythinktanked.com. This is WRGY 90.5 FM Rangeley and streaming at WRGY.org. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.